This issue in this lawsuit is not about immigration. The issue in this lawsuit is about abuse of executive power, and if this abuse is not stopped, it will erode the Constitution that has attracted so many people to this country for generations.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott on NBC's Meet the Press making the case against President Obama's executive action on immigration. Last week, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in that case. Now the High Court must decide whether or not the president overreached his authority. For more, we welcome in the professor of legal theory at Georgetown University Law Center, Randy Barnett, who's the author of Our Republican Constitution, Securing the Liberty and Sovereignty of We the People. Randy, thanks for your time tonight on Newsmax Prime.
Good evening, JD.
It is great to have you, and we will talk specifically about the book in just a minute. But first, some of these pressing issues, in particular, the case the Supreme Court heard last week. If the president wins, will the Constitution as we know it, for all intents and purposes, be rewritten?
Well, first of all, I'm a big admirer of Governor Abbott, and I was in court on Monday to listen to that particular argument, and it is a very big case. Whether the president can make these kinds of actions on his own is what's at stake here. And as you know, we've already won in the lower courts arguing that he can't do that. So this is a very, very big case about the scope of executive power.
Who's your former Harvard Law classmate, Merrick Garland, facing opposition over his nomination to fill the Supreme Court vacancy. Now, Republican senators are citing the advise and consent clause, saying their advice is that with so little time remaining in Mr. Obama's term, it's better for the next president to make a Supreme Court appointment. What's your take?
Well, Merrick Garland was a classmate of mine. We were in the same courses together. He was a star of the section. He's a very nice man. He's an honorable person, very intelligent. But he believes in what I describe in my book as the democratic Constitution, and he would be a reliable vote for the left side of the court to expand federal power. And I think that the Republicans are doing the right thing to put such a momentous decision up to the electorate in the next election. I actually ran into Majority Leader McConnell the other night, and I shook his hand and thanked him for the leadership, because I know we always complain about what leadership in the Senate's doing, and they're disappointing us. But in this case, this came from the top, and if it weren't for the Majority Leader, the Republicans would not be standing together the way they are.
Randy Barnett, author of Our Republican Constitution, Securing the Liberty and Sovereignty of We the People. Now it's time for you to sound off. Remember last night we told you about a new way to have your voice heard via video? Well, the first video we're ever using, sent in tonight by Richard, who says the GOP race is not over yet.
First of all, there are still 9 states to vote in this primaries or across the different 9 states, and there's like 455 delegates left. And Ted Cruz, even though he dropped out, he's still on the ballots. As a matter of fact, here in New Mexico, I'm voting next week for Ted Cruz in the early voting for the primary. And I think everybody should do the same. We have a big mistake here.
Well, next we hear from Stephen, who makes no bones about who he supports and what he thinks of the so-called establishment candidates.
First debate, they asked Trump to stay with the party, not to go independent. Now that he's won, what are they doing? I quit subscribing to the NRC newsletter and the GOP newsletter simply because I don't know if I am a Republican. I'm a Trump. And I didn't even vote for McCain. I voted for Palin and didn't even go out when Romney was running. I'm a Trump.
Now, if you want to send in a video, here's what you need to do. Newsmax Prime wants your voice to be heard. Now we're offering you the chance to send in a video to sound off. Simply go to NewsmaxUSA.com and follow the on-screen instructions from your computer or mobile device. Sound off with Newsmax Prime. And this reminder that you can literally join the conversation Monday by calling me at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. And, of course, you see the other ways to send your comments in more conventionally. You know what's coming this weekend, don't you? Mother's Day. Happy Mom's Day. See you back Monday. Stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.